I want to tell you a story. At the age of 17, I came across Imam Gaji for the first time, and he was telling people that you can make money by selling Facebook ads to businesses and by hiring a media buyer or someone to run your ads via Upwork for $500. So hire someone for $500 and sell the service for $1,500 per month. And that got me excited, you know, as a 17-year-old, having only made £1,000 from reselling shoes, right? Reselling Nike shoes and Jordan shoes and Dunks and blah, 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 right? I was excited. I was like, wow, okay, right? I want to turn this into a real business, right? So naturally, as a 17-year-old, you listen to whoever you see on the internet telling you that you can make money. And I said, let me go and try this for myself. I've got nothing to lose. And despite that having been a failure, that was probably the most important leap that I have taken in my life when it comes to my career. And it probably has contributed to where I am today the most. From that point on, I tried different models. Agency for e-commerce brands, agency for dental practices, right? I meddled with SaaS, with Go High Level, right? I then switched to content, right? Content agency, video editing, right? And I set myself on this path of trying every single different type of agency under the sun, right? Eventually, I tried an agency for care homes with a friend. That didn't work. And eventually, the path of working with coaches stuck. Coaches, consultants, creators, online people. And here I am today after at least 3 years of failure and a bit of success and a bit of failure and failure and failure and failure and a bit of success here and there. I think I can finally say that I'm getting there. And now I run a consulting business with my dad called Dentistry Mastered that helps dentists. He's the dentist, he's the coach, and I run the show in the back end. And I wouldn't be in this position if I hadn't built the skills that I learned from years of failing and some wins here and some wins there and then failing again, right? Don't get me wrong, it wasn't full of failure, right? I had a bit of success here and there. But I think bigger than the financial success that came from the last 3 years, the skill set that I learned is probably the biggest success. The constant failure was my biggest success. And here I am today. And in the last 4.5 weeks, I've generated 18K USD, right? Which is about, if I'm not wrong, maybe 13 or 12K pounds. I don't know the exact number. By selling a $200 product, £150 product. But how did I do this? Because it wasn't working for so long. You know, it was very on and off, right? Not this, but everything I was doing in business. But it just clicked. And it clicked because I understood what I'm about to explain to you in the video that you're watching right now. So what now, right? I'm running this consulting business. How did you make this? Well, let me explain. So essentially what I did is I sold a webinar series, right? And the whole purpose of this webinar series was to basically teach dentists how they can make more money, right? And it was something that I found was a need in the market. So what did I do? I sat down, we strategized, and we said, let's launch a 5-week webinar series for dentists, associate dentists, teaching them how they can get to 30K per month as a dentist, right? Let's bring in a guest speaker. Let's run ads. Let's get some organic purchases from the people that we've gained as followers, and I'll explain that in a second and how you can do that. And we just started DMing every single follower that was a dentist and every past conversation that we've had with dentists. And we ended up getting about 80 purchases. And the first one starts tomorrow. The first seminar series or the first webinar starts tomorrow, and that's going to last for 5 weeks. So maybe we might squeeze a few more in before tomorrow, but that's it. And the purpose of this webinar wasn't even to make money. The purpose was to bring people in and then on the webinar, teach them, you know, that, hey, you know, you can go ahead and you can, you know, get financial freedom as a dentist. And by the way, you can also buy my product. And that was the point, to upsell them into something else. And of course, you know, the focus is on value, very important. And what we ended up creating is this sort of step-by-step process. I ended up sitting here and saying, okay, how can I simplify this for every single person watching this video, every single beginner watching this video? And it's actually very simple. How can you do this for yourself? Number one, you need to have a cool idea, right? You need to be good at something, right? And an idea that makes sense, right? In our case, hey, let's sell something to dentists, right? Number two, sell something about the idea, right? So, hey, dentists aren't making enough money. Let's teach them how to make enough money. Let's sell something about that. And we really had to nail down, who do we actually help? Because if we just address dentists, it's still a bit broad. So we said, okay, let's address associate dentists, people who are employed, basically. And we really focused on what are their pains and difficulties and how can we capture their attention? And so from there, what you can do, once you have an idea of who you can help, you kind of follow this format. And I like to call it the sort of top, middle, and bottom of funnel format. It's very well broadly used terminology in the online coaching space. And the priority here is basically the top. How can I capture as many dream followers as possible, right? How can I get as many people into my social media page as possible that are this person, right? My cool idea, right? And then how can I convince them that my cool thing is worth their time and energy? Because if they've bought into my sort of message by following me, right? How can I convince them that, hey, like, this is actually worth your time and energy, right? Is my message compelling enough to them? Right? And for us, we found that dentists, by the way, you can earn more money ethically. That was compelling enough for them. And lastly, really, all you have to think about is, how can I get them to buy my cool thing? Now, it seems very simple, but it can get complicated. What I'll say to you is, as a beginner, and if you're a beginner watching this video, try to simplify it as much as possible, right? You just need something to start with. What we did is we started very complicated at the beginning. We were like, okay, let's sell high ticket and, let's try to set a high price. And eventually we were like, okay, why don't we just collect some cash? And so we created this offer, for $200, £150, and people started coming in. And that was a start. This is a start. We're not going to stay on this number, right, every month. This is a start. And I say all of this because I spent years trying the most complicated funnels, the most complicated systems, the most complicated back-end stuff. But I never actually said to people, hey, just buy my product. There was always this thing that had to be embedded behind a VSL page or a landing page, and don't get me wrong, that's all great. But I never just DM people and said to them, okay, you've been following me for a while, you clearly benefit, right? We've had a conversation previously, and we have conversations with our followers, not me, but of course my father, who's the coach inside the business. We've had a conversation, and hey, I think you'd benefit. It's £150, right? Which is about $200, which for dentists isn't much. I hope you benefit. If you want to sign up, sign up. If you don't, then don't. And I'll recommend watching one of the recent videos of a guy named Dan Bolton, right? And I'll give him a shout out over here, although this video probably won't get much reach. He just said in that video, in a nutshell, that you don't need to have this overcomplicated funnel and system where you just scramble for every last sale. Give the world what it deserves. Focus on the top of funnel in your content, right? Get as many dream followers as possible. I don't care. Run an ad to it. Just get in front of as many of your number 3 as possible. Right? For us, it was dentists. Get in front of as many associate dentists as possible. That's what we did. We focused on that. For the longest time, we were just focusing on that for a few months. Eventually, we've amassed about 5,000 followers. And now it's like, okay, cool. Let's try sell them something. So let's send them a message and be like, hey, I'm sure you'd benefit from this. Nothing wrong with it. It's like someone on the street selling tomatoes to people on the street. Oh yeah, 2-for-1 deal. Come and buy my tomato. And surprisingly, after trying to haggle so much and set up every single kind of funnel under the sun, this was the one that generated us this initial first bit of cash. Join the waitlist of my platform, because I want you to get on my platform and start doing what I just did, right? And so if you go on to stack.win, you get to see this page. And my platform will be a all-in-one platform that you will need to build and sell any type of coaching, product, one-to-one access, whatever it is. You want to manage your leads, you want to manage your landing pages, you want to manage your automations, you want to collaborate with your team. It's all going to be there. And the reason why I believe so much in this product is because you have your Go High levels, and you have your WOPs, and you have your schools, which is what we're using right now, and you have Circle, which is what we used previously. And they're all good, but none of them bring everything together the way we want to bring everything together. And so I truly believe that after this beta is done, and when we launch the real platform, this will dominate the industry. And so if you want early access, you can join the waitlist over here. Just search stack.win, and you can join the waitlist, and more information will come very, very soon. But what's next for me, right? Because, I'm running this consulting business with my dad. I went to him and I said to him, look, I've been doing this for years, right? And I've built the skills and I've helped people, and, we've had previous clients, and we've done a great job, right? Although some of them were failures, but I've got enough experience. Let's do this. What's next? I've got this consulting offer with him, and I'm building this platform, but I'm also building a mystery platform that's coming out maybe in the next year. It's going to be an ERP. I can't really share much about that right now. Listen, if you've enjoyed the video, then send me a DM. Let me know what your thoughts are. And yeah, if you want to work with me one-to-one, just send me a DM. I'm happy to give you some advice. And hey, I might charge you for my time. But let's see. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've learned something. And yeah, let's see if I can actually stay consistent with this posting thing.